Oh my.
When you say you sleep with a snake.
Well, my sister and I we used to sleep in the back bedroom, and it was like a they had closed it in and still had the window out in the back where we were. And we got up there in the morning, was getting dressed and stuff, and I was fixing the bed. When I pulled the covers up, it was a black snake.
Oh, king snake.
No.
Yeah, he started wrapping himself in the curtain. This was going around the curtain. So I called my brother, and he lived down the way. And he came up here, and I told him, I said, come in the front door because I didn't want to disturb his twirling around in the curtains. And he came in the front door. He had like a hole.
Yeah, the whole old school hole.
Yeah, and he went in the back there. Well, he was back there chopping and his blood flying. So he came out. He had the hole. My brother's like what, 6'2", 6'3". He's standing like this. The snake hanging over that tail on the floor. So he was holding him up like this. The snake was over 6 feet long.
Yeah, that's how I
But
knew
he
it was
was
a king
in the
snake.
bed. He was like in the bed. Cause
That's how I knew it was a king snake, because a king snake, they like the heat and they black like that, and they will come in your room and sleep with you.
That reminds me of that story of
and some of them had like the white. They had the white underbelly.
Hold up, king snake. I have pictures with him. I
kill him.
My
If
brother
snakes
can't
get
stand
up around my area, they're gone.
that reminds me of Uncle Ivan with the snake over the bed railing and the dog then brushed against him and he's about to kill another thing.
Well, we were sitting there underneath the tree one time, and this little snake dropped down, hanging in the tree, right?
Yeah, they drop
And
out
my
the
brother,
tree.
my other brother, because he can't stand snakes. So when he comes in the house to get a gun, he gets at it just like, that's the snake. He
You
put
gonna
the gun
shoot
that
a gun?
shoot and missed it.
You?
Missed the snake.
Who? Your brother?
No, he did.
You shot the gun at a snake.
Yeah.
And missed it.
You're proud of it.
I ain't hit
He
it.
said, yeah. Like,
You should have talked to my grandpa, because he can shoot it and get it right.
With the shotgun.
I missed him with a shotgun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that not that long ago, right over there in her.
Best thing is get a shetty or something.
But I had
sharp
too big
in
a
the head.
shot in there. I had buckshot in there, and I should have had like 8
Bird shot.
bird shots.
There was 2 of them over at his house. They were all wrapped all around each other and stuff.
Randall and I were walking down to our cousin's house near our grandma's house, and this little green garden snake fell. But as fast as we took off, we were like Scooby-Doo running in the air. We were out of there.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
I had a cottonmouth baby, a baby cottonmouth. I was doing yard work barefooted.
That's
Getting the leaves out from underneath, behind the air conditioning unit.
That's what they like.
So I was getting the leaves. Baby cottonmouth slid right over my foot. I ain't never been so still a day in my life.
When we were
I
over
like
in Gloucester
snake.
at that little house we used to stay in, we were walking down toward the church, and we walking down the road. Warren said, "Reed, snake." When he said that, I jumped from one side of the road to the other. There was a big black snake right in the road, like.
See, them, I don't mind them because I know they eat the rats. Them
Yeah, they
king
do.
snakes and
A lot
the
of
rat
people
snakes.
don't want you to kill them and all because
Yeah,
they
them-
eat other snakes.
Yeah, them king
His
snakes
act-
eat other snakes, and them rat snakes eat them rats. And I be like, let them go. Let them do what they're supposed to
Warren was
do.
right one here in the hall, right here
Right
by
there
the
at the
steps.
foot of the
I
step.
looked and I just saw that on the steps. That kind of made me a little anxious just now. And I was like, you got something.
Because I heard it when he dropped down the steps coming down, but I didn't
Heard
see
it.
anything.
Oh my Lord.
But I didn't see anything.
That
He didn't
part.
get on that
And
night.
he told me, come spend the night, and I stay up there, and I would snake stories, I'm not.
Yeah.
Snakes
It
ain't
ain't
that
I think it was in the
bad.
old
Snakes
chimney.
ain't that
It was in the
bad.
old chimney.
Yeah, let it
Well,
spider.
we only got a
Oh,
couple
you
of
right.
poisons.
Let a spider come in.
Oh,
I'm
I
moving
don't do
furniture.
spiders.
Me either. I'm moving furniture when it comes to a
I
spider.
had big I don't
There-
deal with spiders.
There's certain places in our yard that I know not to go near because I just
Yeah,
feel like,
frogs.
oh yeah, oh.
Yeah, remember when she had the frog on the screen door and she was flipping?
We couldn't even go into the restaurant because there was a frog on the window.
I don't mind frogs.
Oh.
But like where Dad
Frogs
is,
eat the spiders.
And
They
lizards,
eat the
I don't- I
spiders.
mean, little ones, the little ones that's, little.
The frogs eat the spiders. They can stay.
my dad, he has that in the yard like extra wooden fence material or whatever, and it's stacked up behind the garage. I know not to go near that
That's
because
a
I know.
snake.
But see, look,
Snakes are
okay,
in
so
That
Leah,
where copperheads live
where
in
you
wood
live
piles,
now, and you have the remnants of what I grew up with when I would come for the summer, and you're saying, oh, I was lucky to have a
a
bathroom,
but not
because
our house.
you had an outhouse, and those actual buildings back there were functional back there when you were little, huh?
What?
In
We
the
didn't
back
have
of
no
Grandma's
functional
house.
bathroom.
No, you had an outhouse and
Yeah.
those buildings that were back there. What they were actual bonds and stuff when
Chicken
you.
coops and pigsties and
Yeah,
things.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I remember we used to. I remember
We,
they.
boy, used to have fun with them.
Do y'all remember the wheat fields? They used to be up. Before they
Set
got
them
cut
on
down?
fire.
Huh?
Or was it cornfield? Was it
We
corn or
burned
wheat
the-
field that was
Kenny
behind
got rid of
Grandpa's
them.
house?
Did you
Huh?
cry?
They
Huh?
made
Did you cry? That
No,
must have felt.
no.
They never feel certain kind of
When the
way.
fire trucks had to come.
So, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it started
we used to
off
run.
as a
I
week,
used to run through
because
that.
it was
Me,
full of,
Felicia,
like, antiques
Kamani,
and books that
all
at the
them used to
time
run
I
through that.
didn't know.
Inside.
Until
it
Mama
was-
told us the snakes used to
it
fall out
was
the
a
sky.
lot of junk in it, but when it got burned, it
She
went
said, "You
and
better stop
emptied
it. Them
out.
snakes gonna
So
fall
that
out
was
the
the
stocks
problem.
on
There was
y'all."
two of them.
Randall
And
is
I was
bad.
moving. We only the only one to burn
I was
one.
up in the front
Now,
digging in
for a
the
week, I had to carry out all the stuff that was in one, move it into the
I
other.
don't wear gloves.
But then we set it on
No,
fire,
because
and
it's
everything went on
So I was
fire. Even
pulling
the
stuff
tree
up,
next to
pulling
it
stuff
was
up.
Yeah,
I
I
was
remember
stuck
tree
in
too.
those dollars from up in-
Yeah, I was like
Snake?
9 or
that's,
10, so
um,
I
Yeah,
don't
that,
even
that,
remember
that,
what it was.
that could have been tragic.
Flipped it like that, natural worm. It's a thing.
Well,
The house almost went on fire.
Yeah, they called the fire
I think it
department
might
and
have
I
been
was
they
just running
came.
around the field having the best day.
I can remember.
Yeah,
coming,
because them
I
babies,
probably
they
might
don't
have
know
been
how to
about-
control their venom, and they'll
Between
bite you
9
and
and
you
11.
down.
Poisonous.
Wow.
And in the
And
back
then
of the
that
house
side,
was
that's
all
the
the
mama
woods.
one.
Because they don't know how to control
Corn.
their venom. They don't know how to control their venom
And
at all.
Grandpa
It's
had
like, won't work.
grapevines
Oh, the good grape.
and watermelons,
Dad tells
Oh, I
me
remember the watermelons.
green beans,
Oh,
and all
I
of this
remember
stuff
Grandpa.
growing.
this
And I
huge
remember
black
he took
snake
me
that kept trying to
into
get
the
under,
woods, and I was little, and you
the
let
old
me
house,
shoot a
you know?
shotgun
That's because
And
they
he-
were rats.
into the
Oh,
woods.
yeah.
I mean, like I'm
For
sure it probably
but he
knocked
was
me
taking
to the
like
ground.
a
I
rake or
remember
whatever,
because I
trying to
was
pull
always
back,
so
and
small.
he said,
But there was
he
just
was
like
at that for like
nothing
an hour
around
because
that
we
we
kept
could just
trying to
shoot
get up
like they
under
were
there.
shooting out there
And he said
today.
he almost lost. He
And
said
it
he
was no
broke
big
his
deal. I
sweat
can
and
just
everything.
remember, or
Cracked me
but
up.
it was also after the time that Children of the Corn came out,
Like a musky
and that's
smell.
all that
Really?
surrounded the house
With corn.
was corn.
I knew it was corn.
And
Yeah.
I
I
can
said it was
So
either
it's
wheat
corn
or corn. I remember
one
them
year
stuff.
or beans maybe
Yeah,
the next.
beans
do
So
you
Yeah,
is the
they
swing
were-
still there? The tire swing?
We used to
The
run
tree's
through those
not even
fields.
there.
So
Yeah,
the
we
tree's
did
not
too.
there. So
we
when
used
I
to
was
get out
little,
there, have what called dirt bomb fights,
my
little
first summer
clods of
coming,
dirt.
I was
Uh-huh.
7.
We used to
Yeah.
have us
And
out
there
there
was a
making mud
tire
I
pies.
tell you what, we didn't have nothing around
But
their
Grandpa
house but
built
what was there. But
a
we had
tree
more
swing
fun around
for
there
me.
as
It was
kids
green. I don't
than
know if
most
you
kids
remember it, if it was
nowadays
still
know
there
how
when
to
you were
have.
little.
You right.
That my first year
We had
visiting,
good
the
times.
day I pulled up in the car, Grandpa was finishing building this tree swing.
The tire on the
Not
oak
the
tree?
tire, the green swing that he
Oh
built.
yeah, oh
And he
yeah.
built it, and he was like, I built a swing for you when you came. And I was like, for me? Like, there was no other kids for me to play with, so at least I had a tree swing. And I remember because my father was married to somebody else, and she sat on it, and it flipped over backwards. And it was really funny. It was really funny. It was very funny because she got on the tree swing like before me, and it was supposed to be my tree swing, and she got on it and she swung, and it flipped over backwards because Grandpa hadn't made it like adjusted good yet. And it was very funny to me. So I remember that. But everybody that got to come after that got to use the tree swing, but it was technically my tree swing.
It was on the big tree.
It was on the
that's-
big tree
Yeah,
opposite
That tire.
opposite the
swing was
dryer.
I
funny.
remember the tire swing.
That was
opposite the
fun.
tire
I don't
swing.
even
That
remember
was
the
fun.
tire
And Uncle
swing.
Kenny
You don't
used to
remember
swing
the
me.
tire
It was
swing?
after the-
Boy,
I think they
boy.
cut the tree down.
Everybody had a ball.
Oh
on
my
that
God.
thing.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I think they cut the tree down before he was born.
You don't
Probably
remember the
did.
The
tire?
Yeah,
oak,
they
we
cut
cut
the
down the oak one. There's another one there. It's dead, but it's
Nah,
still
but
standing.
this tree swing was
It was
in the
on
oak.
the oak.
Yeah, it was in the old. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
before you were
Boy, we
born.
used to
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
thing roll.
My Uncle Kenny, because it was just me there all summer with my Uncle Kenny. And he used to put me on it, and he would spin it around, 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 and it would get tight, 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 tight. And I'd be like, more. He'd be like, you sure? You gonna be able to hold on? I was like, yeah. And he'd spin it, and then he'd let me go, and I'd get so freaking dizzy. I don't know how the hell I didn't fall out of that tire, but I'd be sitting in it. Sometimes I tried to sit on top, and I thought I was gonna die. But then I'd sit in it, and that was my best friend when I would come
You
visit,
know,
was your
I-
father. My uncle.
Called your father Great Pop Pop. That was his name for me. Great Pop Pop. Because I couldn't say Grandpa. I said Great Pop Pop. And Great Pop Pop, I remember the first time. The reason why I love watermelon to this day, he used to cut up that watermelon on that stump.
There would always be a watermelon on
And he used to cut up on that stuff, but I'll never forget the way he cut. He was like, "You gonna have to try this." I was like,
You should have been there when
I don't
Grandpa,
want that.
when my grandfather used to grow 'em. Boy, they were the biggest, prettiest watermelons, and there'd be a dozen of them around there in the
I
shade.
remember that. I remember my summers. There would always be one in the refrigerator that we were eating, and there would be one sitting by the bathroom by that heater on the floor. There would be one on deck ready to go in the fridge when that one was
You
finished.
used to get good watermelons.
Yeah.
Then
And
now
they would
it's
be
hard
like
to
this
find
big.
a real
They'd
watermelon.
be big. They'd
Yeah,
be.
they all want to sell you them
Yeah.
little basketballs.
No, we had these
How
long.
did he keep the crows from him?
Huh?
My father tried to grow watermelon like what, 5 years ago now? Crows took them out. Just plucked them all empty.
Grandpa had a good guide in the watermelon going.
Daddy,
I feel like we did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
He had
We didn't have
strawberries.
scarecrows. We didn't, you know.
My grandmother would make
Y'all didn't even
jelly.
put no
She
little
made grape and
barbed wire or
strawberry
nothing on
jelly.
top, so they
Strawberry shortcake.
couldn't get through. Cause
Something.
I mean, that's what we
Ice
do down
cream.
in the south. We just put barbed wire on
Grape,
top. The birds can't even
peach
land.
brandy.
to even
Yeah,
try to
that-
fit.
that was
I
some
didn't
good
have
stuff.
peach brandy,
He was
but
like
yesterday
Harpo
when
and
Valerie
Zero.
brings Kayla, I said, Kayla, I had a root beer in the fridge. I said, I have root beer. And Kayla was like, I love root beer. And I said, my grandfather
You
used
don't
to
like
make
root beer?
No,
I
she
love
does.
it.
Oh,
And I said, my grandfather used to make root beer. And Valerie says, no, he made chowder. Grandma made
Root
root beer.
beer.
And I was like, I don't know what your
No.
memory is.
Dad made root beer.
Thank you, my father.
Mine
My grandfather.
Mine never made root beer.
Thank you, my father. My
But
grandfather
that was
made root
Daddy's
beer.
thing.
There's two
That was
recipes
Good
that
stuff too.
Yes, it was. And me and my grandmother would make ice cream on the well in the back. Because when the root beer would be ready, we'd be out there
making the
cranking it,
floats.
making
Yeah,
the ice cream. Yes.
the root beer floats.
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember the root beer floats.
And she said grandpa used to make chowder, like clam chowder. And I was like, he may have, I don't like clam chowder. But I know my grandfather used to make root beer.
But I know what you do remember.
What?
That gingerbread with peaches and homemade cream.
Gingerbread, what's that?
You remember the gingerbread your
Damn
mama
right
used
I do, but I ain't seen one in so long. I like gingerbread.
Mom makes it still. She said my grandmother used to teach me this recipe.
Yeah,
she makes
I
that
like
gingerbread
gingerbread.
with
Yeah,
them
whipped
peaches
cream.
and the homemade whipped cream. Oh
Yeah,
boy, that used to be every
Daddy
summer.
say,
Every
butter 'em
summer.
while they hot. Same with the shortcake.
Yeah, the
I
strawberry
didn't
shortcake.
know where that came from. I just assumed that was something my father. He just
No, the strawberry shortcake was from his mama.
Yeah. We used to have a lot of dessert. I mean, they're always on the weekend, but even during the week, you know, Ma had dessert sometimes, you know what I mean? Make donuts, good damn donut.
Molasses and biscuits.
And like, you know, on the week, you always had apple pie or strawberry shortcake.
Full meal for her
something.
family.
What was that?
It was a remote. Molasses and biscuits.
I don't think.
I feel like I would wake up and breakfast would be being made. Like I woke up when on my summers, I woke up to breakfast being made. And by lunchtime, dinner was already like in preparation. My grandmother was already making dinner by lunchtime.
Especially on the weekend. Because she'd like fried chicken and all before she'd go to church. Have
Put
dinner
the
ready
greens
before
on
she
and said,
go.
keep an eye on the greens till I get back home.
And then I
Mama
remember-
would say it to us when she was.
I remember when my Aunt Joanne moved back here from California. And I would come because then it was just like normal for me because I was so used to being around her already. And she'd be here and I can remember we'd go crabbing. And
Get a good bushel.
we go crabbing and I can remember being in the kitchen and her putting them in the pot. I remember one got a hold of her and she flung it across the room. It hit the door and she was like, I'm eating you first. I'm gonna eat you first. I'm like, I remember that. He said, that's cool. Like you're like right in the middle. So you have the memories of your older siblings, and then you're the oldest of the ones coming up behind you.
My younger brothers, we had some good times too, some funny stuff.
Dad acts like he had to fight for his life with all his siblings.
I can
He
imagine.
kinda did.
Did we ever tell you about the time Wayne threw the shoebox and hit Ivan in the head?
No.
Yeah, that cracked me up. You know, like Ivan he tormented him, boy. Kenny and Wayne, he tormented him. And anyhow, we had a shoe shine box, you know, that kept shoe shine rags and polish and everything in it. And Ivan had been up there messing with Wayne or something, pissed Wayne off, and then he did something and like hit Wayne last and takes off running down the step. Well, Wayne took the shoebox and whipped it down the steps and hit Ivan in the head. And Ivan turned around and said, "Ah, you missed." And he rubbing his head like, you know, "Ah, you missed." Yeah, that was funny, boy.
No, you know what?
Smiling Ivan.
One of the best stories you ever told me was your ice cream story.
Oh.
Well, when Ivan dropped the ice cream cone?
No,
With your
when
dad.
Grandpa, when you didn't get.
When you didn't get your ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know this story?
Yeah, he used to go to a place they call it Rich Lee's. It was a little joint. It wasn't about half the size of this room, but it was by the General Electric out in Lynn where he used to work. And like I say, when I was little, everyone else was in school, and I'm about 4. Didn't go to school yet, so I'd go everywhere with Daddy, you know, whether he was shopping or getting a car fixed or something. Well, he'd go to Lynn and pick up his check because he worked night shift. So he'd go in and get it in the day so they could shop and go get groceries and all. And every time we'd go, he'd hit Rich Lee's and get me a chocolate ice cream cone.
Still yellow.
Best damn ice cream, boy, I ain't kidding. And, you know, that was routine. You know, I look forward to that. And so this one time, he just gonna mess with me. And when we turned off from General Electric, Rich Lee's is this way, but we go this way. You know, where my ice cream, you know. And anyhow, like I got pissed off and I called him a black nigger. You know, you black. And he wouldn't give me ice cream. Hey, you black nigger. I don't know where I got that from, but like.
Was it Aunt Vi that told us that
She
same one?
cracked up even now when we were just up there telling the story. Apparently he said like, well, I'm poorly today. Instead of going to Richley, he said, well, I'm poorly today.
Yeah.
And then he came home without the ice cream. And he was like a toddler, calling him a black nigga.
She said,
And he spanked it, and he said, you still
still
a
a
black
black
nigga.
Yeah, they were the good old days. But I miss everybody too.
Dad tells stories about Uncle Ivan like he was Freddy Krueger though. Like he
For
tells
real.
us one story about how like he's like what 5 or 6, and he's like falling asleep in the living room, and then Grandma's like, "Why don't you go to bed, Kenny?" And then he'd look up into the dark room and hear Uncle Ivan's deep voice laughing.
Uncle Alvin terrorized.
That's sad.
Uncle Alvin terrorized Uncle Wayne and Uncle Kenny.
Yeah, he was
Apparently he
hot
would
on
sit
them.
by the door frame and wait for them to go into the room, and then when they would, he would right in the hip. Take
Ivan's thing was he was toughening them up. You know, man, you be ready to fight Ali. You know, he toughened them up.
Was that what Uncle Talbot was doing to you too?
No, Tal wasn't around really a whole lot when I was coming up.
But who was holding Kenny over the stove?
I did that to their father.
It was you.
But I didn't intend to burn
He
him.
moved.
I was just messing with him, but and I guess it was more heat than I realized, and he got to flopping around,
What?
and his back hit the top of the stove and put a burn on his
Did you
back.
get in trouble?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Dad
Then
tells
he
that
ain't
story
never
all the time.
forgot it
He
either.
He was telling that story the other night when he was like kind of drinking by himself, and then he just sat there thinking. He goes, "Why was he holding me over
Yeah,
a
like-
stove?" I had to rethink everything.
But it was unintentional, too. I didn't mean to do it.
Rotisserie.
He wiggled.
That's what they
Well,
excuse.
Talbot got me. We had them old
Oh, so you was getting the
Wood-
younger generation
wood
because the
stove.
older got you.
And that the side of that wooden stove could be red hot. You remember them
Yeah.
kind you sit up in the floor?
Sure, grandma.
And
grandma got
if you
one.
see a picture
that
of
one song?
us at Grammy and Grandpa's 50th wedding anniversary, I got a bandage on my leg. Tal pushed my leg up, pushed me, and I went up against the stove and burnt my leg on the wood stove. So,
Remember you said that warm morning on him?
yeah.
Buddy, when my brother, when he was little, so he yawned like this, and he had warm morning across the stove.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Well, I tell you what I did was
It was the
stupid.
pellet stove. You ain't seen that pellet
Is
stove?
it in the kitchen?
No, it's over there on the other. Like, so if you go to the kitchen, you see the little window with the little dining room supposed to be, right? It's in there. They're wood stove. See?
What you do?
What kind of stove?
So grandma and grandpa got a wood stove now, cause you know the oil price went up so much.
You
They
know,
went and said,
where they get wood from?
there's pellets now.
Oh,
Like
pellets.
Herman.
Yeah.
They get pellets now, but it's pretty much just the same makeshift of a wood stove, but now they just put pellets
I got
instead
you.
of the wood.
I hear you.
Mhm.
Well, what did you do? What else did you do? You said.
Oh, I stuck the cigarette lighter on
On
my
his
nose.
nose.
Now, I
Oh,
don't know
no.
what I did that for, but I had like a bullseye ringing around on it. I rode all the way home from Worcester to Cambridge with my nose stuck on the car window because that was cold.
Wow.
But Gail did the same thing.
I've done it on my
Especially
finger when I was young.
Gail is
I
special
didn't
with the
understand.
Don't
Yeah, I
worry,
stuck
we
it on
all
my
we
nose.
all
I
have
don't
burnt
know what the hell I
ourselves.
was
We're just
thinking.
products of our family.
So I stuck my tongue to the
Oh, on ice?
inside the freezer.
Yeah,
On inside the
yeah.
So
freezer
do you
thing.
remember when,
I remember
like-
my tongue to that.
I remember
Do
getting-
you remember
Yeah,
when
I've
you
tried
were
that.
I remember
close
getting
in
mine
age
stuck
with
to
Uncle
like the
Ivan?
pole.
So you don't
like when it
remember
was
Uncle
cold
Ivan
and
coming,
the-
right?
No, mine, I was.
Don't
that
do
was
what?
Do you remember when Uncle Ivan was born, or you don't remember?
Put
when
hot
Uncle
water, right?
Yeah, I remember when I
That
come
was
home. I was
real,
3.
don't it?
Yeah, I remember I
Couldn't taste right in that area for a second.
When Wayne come
When I
home.
was like
Really?
10, I put
Yeah.
a phone charger
Wow.
and just plugged
Yeah.
it to the wall in my
Yeah.
mouth.
Ooh.
And
You know, I don't
I guess
remember a
it
whole lot
shocked
back
me,
then,
but
but
what it
like
felt
we were
like
3
was
years
like my
apart.
phone
I
was-
was
my
3 when
tongue was
9
getting,
was born,
like,
and I was
sucked
6
into
when
the
Wayne
charger.
was
But
born.
it was,
really
I
remember
just
when
got
Uncle
shocked.
Wayne comes along.
I used to love
And we go
taking
down
up and doing that to
to
myself as a little
the
kid.
Cambridge
Yeah.
City
Cause
Hospital.
I like
They had a
that, like we used to
maternity
do with
ward they
batteries
called
too, like
the
fresh batteries that just came down to something that
Cahill
was
House.
used. We used to do it too.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to
Me
do
too.
it, but
And
No, I
then
mean we used to do it just because
we'd
of that
go
feeling.
and they wouldn't, you know, if
You
you
know,
was
'cause,
under a certain
you know,
age,
we weren't
kids
allowed
couldn't
next
go
to the
in.
outlets,
Okay.
and that's
So
it.
we'd be outside
the
the
next
car,
best.
and then Ma would come to the window, you know, and wave to us. We'd be waving, you know, Ma be in the hospital. Because back then, you go to the hospital to have a baby, you stayed maybe 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days, yeah, yeah.
How
And
was
they'd
it?
have my team come look out for us or something during that time, you know,
Oh.
cook and fix us stuff.
When my father was born, like, how was that? Was
What?
he was a surprise?
What?
Was it like a joyful time?
What,
A
when
joyful
Kenny was
surprise?
born?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if you think about it, my grandma was pregnant, Nick was pregnant, and your
Ma.
mom was pregnant at the same
And
time.
Ma wasn't too happy there at first because Ma was 47 years old, you know what I mean? And like, I remember them squawking, you know, but like, as it turned out, it was a blessing for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
They was all glad.
The baby boy.
And Kenny turned out he wasn't no babbling idiot or nothing. You know, because, you know, you worry about that. You get a woman up there in that age, you know. But Ma had already had several kids, too, so that makes it better.
Apparently, she used to tell a joke about, like, you know,
Huh?
the doctors were worried. Grandma, Dad tell a story how, like, she would talk to her friends and be like, the doctors were worried that he'd be slow. And then she would
Yeah.
pause, look at him and say, sometimes I'm still not sure.
Yeah, you take women up at that age, sometimes they could have Downs kids or something like that, you know. But, you know, Kenny was the last hurrah and turned out great.
Yeah.
He got a lot of his father in him, too, boy. I ain't kidding. He's a lot like Dad.
What do you see that reminds you of?
I mean, just the way he is with you guys and and putting food on the table and shopping and
Shopping
that.
big.
Yeah.
He's got the coupon holder that Pop had.
yeah.
It's like dust now. But I remember like you know, you be in line. There's 20 people behind us. He's like, I got another coupon. He's like, wait. And I got his phone, so he's like, got his glasses on, trying to find
I
the
love
coupon.
it.
I'm like, I'm looking at the crowd.
I love it.
I know, I need to get behind
Yeah.
got all those coupons and stuff.
Yeah, Kenny is a lot like when it comes to, you know, what Daddy used to say, the wheel that squeaks the loudest gets the most oil. And
Boy,
like
you
Daddy
still say that.
and Kenny both, they're gonna speak up for their due, you know what I mean? If they can get a shake on something, get something cheaper or, you know, whatever. That's all.
I need a family
And they
discount,
both will.
birthday discount.
Mama told me they both will.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
my eyelashes good today discount? What discount can you give
We
me?
were going to Boston one time. I was driving. You know, I always consider myself a good driver. And I'm cruising. I ain't going breakneck speed, but I'm cruising along. Daddy says, "You tired, War? You want Kenny to drive?" I said, "Damn, ain't I doing good enough?" You know, but Kenny would drive like Daddy wanted him to drive, you know, like balls out, you know. And like, that's cool at some time, but, you know.
Your father taught my mom how to drive. She told me something. She was like, yeah, you see them yellow lights? My grandfather told me this. They give you those. Take it.
Well, Bai, a lot like Leah, never really was into driving that much. I don't know why how she eventually did get a license. Nit, soon as she got license,
Man.
first day she was old enough, she had license. Nit was
She
me and
ready to
her,
roll.
and we was all downtown Boston and everything, all that traffic. But Bai never took to driving too much. She never was, you know, she did drive, and she'd go where she had to go around Harvard or Air or something.
Yeah, my
But
grandfather.
get on the road and drive to Virginia or something.
My grandfather has the funniest story. He had to get eye surgery or something done, but he had to get them shades that they cover up his eyes at.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot what bridge it was, but they were going over. Grandma had to drive, and she had to go over the bridge. And the whole entire time, she's going over the bridge.
I bet.
Grandma said he snatched that stuff off his eyes so quick and said, "Pull over."
That's fine.
You know, that's my grandmother. She don't drive.
Yeah.
No, that's how I thought growing up. My family made vehicles because every time I would come to Virginia for the summer, we were road tripping
In a new car.
in Virginia. But like grandma had like Buicks or Oldsmobiles or like Lincolns. I can remember big cars.
Big always had
And-
big
and-
family and
yep.
needed them.
Yep, Cadillacs. So I can remember being in these
Buicks and Oldsmobiles.
big vehicles, and we'd be going to Massachusetts. We'd be taking these
You remember
road
the
trips.
first time we went to Massachusetts? Me, you, and Iris went to David's wedding.
Wow.
And that yellow Buick, there was a 69 yellow Buick.
I remember the car. I definitely
And we
remember
went
the
up
car.
there to David's wedding, and like that was at Fort Devens.
Mm-hmm. I seen pictures
That was
of
the
that.
first- yeah, I think that was the first time I met all everybody after like.
Everybody on that trip. Yeah, I can.
Because I remember when I saw Gloria's daughters, I thought they were the prettiest girls. Oh, they was. Oh, they looked like Egyptians and stuff.
Didn't they? Yeah,
They
they.
were pretty.
Yeah, I can. Gail fighting. My baby's not Chinese.
That was their Instagram handle, not Chinese.
Yeah.
Gail's was.
No.
Mary Catherine.
That's funny.
Not Asian.
No, when Gail had Abe and Jeannie in LA, we were on the bus, and we were going somewhere in the city. She was taking me to like an audition for a TV show or something like that, like a game show, and these Asian ladies were sitting in front of us, and the lady said, "Oh, your baby Chinese?" And Gail said, "No, my baby's not Chinese." "Your baby Chinese?" Gail said, "My baby is not Chinese. She is black. We are not Chinese." She was so offended, but the lady was like, "No, your baby Chinese." And Gail, "No, she is not Chinese. She is black. We are black."
Abe really looked
Yeah,
Chinese.
Abe very much looked Asian.
Yeah,
Wow.
he did.
Tiger Woods looking kid.
Yeah, very much. Like from the time he was born, he looked like a full-grown baby. He was 10 pounds, and
Oh yeah, he was a Michelin man,
he
baby.
was huge because Gail wouldn't let me hold him unless I was sitting down. because he was so big and I was so little and skinny that I was gonna drop her baby. And
You
she
was
knew it.
little and skinny.
Well, not
You
little and
whistled
skinny. Oh my goodness.
like a little spider monkey.
I was little and skinny. I can remember coming.
Do you remember the time we went? It was me, you, KB. I can't think of it. We went over some girl's house over in Newport News, and the girl was gonna do your hair for me there, 'cause put in braids or something, and there was a tick stuck right up on the top of your head.
No.
You don't
did I have
remember
a,
that?
Did I have a fit because I had a
Yeah,
button
you did kind of, but like we didn't even know it was there. But the girl was, she was greasing your hair and
So my whole life
tying
I've had Lyme disease
and
all
all
the
that
time, you guys.
Country living.
Yeah.
Right.
Go to the country.
Right about right here.
Go to the country and get a tick in your
I
hair.
remember the
I
time-
bet you your mama didn't know about that
No,
one.
that didn't make it home. I remember the time we went to the beach and I got stung by a
Oh
jellyfish.
yeah, the jellyfish got you. I know.
On my
Turned
back,
you right
and I'm
off
like-
from the swimming.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I can swim. No, I can't.
Was that on Capahosic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool. I get stung by a jellyfish.
I've never
Why
been
you told me you
stung
went
by
to the
a
country,
jellyfish.
something bad
Aren't you supposed to
happened?
use like urine? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
they were putting wet,
or salt, is it?
you were
It's
putting
the,
wet sand on me, which didn't do
It's that
anything.
salt they use.
I probably would have
What they
preferred
put
for
on
somebody
it?
to pee on me.
Vinegar.
back then,
I thought it was
but I didn't
vinegar.
know.
Vinegar, yeah.
Too, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a salt. It's like a
I would
seasoning
have preferred
salt.
the pee at that time. I didn't know.
Yeah, you got jellyfish.
Oh, I just did one of these numbers into one.
Really?
Just dove it into it.
Yeah.
What,
that's
got you in
all.
the face?
Yeah, my arms, my face.
Oh, that's not
Wow.
the business, man.
I ain't never got
I was
jellyfish.
kicking them at Myrtle Beach. Myrtle
Well,
Beach.
it's
Yeah,
so-
but they got some kind that
Yeah,
they don't sting you, and then they got the other kind of-
circles look like in them.
the ones that look like a
They don't
four-leaf
bother.
clover
But the
don't
ones that got all
sting.
the tentacles.
Oh, okay, because I was kicking them. I was kicking
Well, the
them
ones
in the
that
water.
got all the things from the bottom.
Yeah, they get
You don't
you.
mess. That's the man of war. You don't.
Oh, yeah, they can kill you. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the ones you don't want to jump into.
I don't go
I
in the
remember. You
water
remember
for
the one
nothing
time I
no more.
came
I don't know. I don't
Even
know.
if it's laying
Me
on the
minding my
sand, a
business.
piece of it, and you touch it,
And something bit me on my back, under my shirt. I don't know. I had,
They got stung, you mean?
yes, by something on my back. It was shortly after the
Probably a
jellyfish.
yellow jacket
It
or
was
something.
see.
Oh, wasp, yeah.
It was.
This why she allergic to the country now.
It was awful. Like I don't like this. Like why did I have to come? What was going on? Like everything was attracted to me. Like it knew I
No
was.
meat.
Yeah.
We got no meat.
If you
in
was
the
a
neighborhood.
kid down here in the country, you was gonna get bit by something.
Yeah,
I've been
I get it.
stung and
Shoot,
many
I got
times.
scratch marks now. But
Yeah.
just
It
was
hanging
an
out in
ant.
the country.
I think it was an ant. 'Cause
Ants
it was
was
in
like-
my
Cow,
shirt.
cow ant. If
It
it's that
was
big,
in
that's a
my
cow
shirt.
ant.
Yeah.
They'll light you up too.
Yeah.
And that poison oak and poison ivy and stuff.
Yeah, them cow ants, boy. I was playing hopscotch with them.
I'm allergic to poison ivy and
No.
all that.
I'm not. I'm not allergic at all. I can run barefooted in the woods right now among poison ivy and oak, and nothing would happen.
I
Don't
wouldn't
bother
want
me
to try
either.
it.
I mean, I've done it before and didn't even know, and they're like, "You, that's poison ivy right there." I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I run that. I
I've
run
been
by
that.
that.
You?
Yeah, like we often like cut back the woods or whatever, and then like I'm moving all the lumber.
That's our
Holding
genealogy
stuff.
right
Right,
there.
right, yeah,
Holding
yeah.
it.
That's our genealogy right there. Shoot, they native. We native too.
No, I'm not native. Steph
You
don't
remember
like
the
me.
time I caught the
No, I'm
shark
allergic.
on the boat?
You got a shot.
Yeah, I remember.
We were laughing about that not long ago.
Right, it was on the
You
side.
jumped from this side of the boat to that side of the boat. You
They
didn't
said-
want nothing to do with
They
it.
said, hold it up. They wanted to take a picture of him with it. They told him, he said, nope.
Yeah, I know.
It took,
Well,
like,
Up until that time, he
Yeah.
talking trash. He catching fish.
Yeah.
Bam! And all this stuff. Boy, he caught that shark. It was about this
Yeah, it was
big,
a-
nice
it was a nice
size
one.
little sand shark.
And you ain't eat it.
It took like 3 rocks.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I was like breaking them, and then one went in the water. Like,
Hey, well, I know you didn't have nothing to do with it when we
Nope.
brought it on board.
He wouldn't take a picture with it. He
Nope.
did. He was when he jumped from one
I
side
remember
to the
being
other.
on this one's boat and that snake that was following us in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like a copperhead.
Mama
Yeah.
was
Monster,
flipping, and I
monster,
thought it was the
monster.
coolest thing in the world watching a snake, because she didn't know snakes could swim on water.
we have a photo of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, gotta put that in the
What's that?
Yeah, there've been
Get that
some
photo.
experiences.
We used to go to the spring, and get water when I would
Yeah,
come.
go to the spring.
We'd go to the spring. There
Which
would be
one? The
snakes.
one back behind Kenny's, or?
No, we would drive to it.
Yeah,
We would
okay.
drive to it.
Up there where we live, Belroy
Belroy,
Road,
okay.
there.
Yeah, and we would go, and I can remember waiting because snakes would be going past before we could walk from the road to go across to get the
Yeah.
water from the spring
Yeah.
with Grandma. My grandma she was just country, was she? She just did not care. This was her
City girl.
town.
City girl. Shut up,
She
city
her
girl.
was
city,
country, but
like-
she adapted to the city real good.
Like-
You the only one from
Cause
the
she was
city in this house.
26
You know that, right?
when she went to the city.
Okay.
You know, I mean, she had been here in Richmond, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that was nothing compared to Boston.
Right.
She lived in Richmond? I
She
guess
worked
had
at
to.
Tallheimers.
What's Tallheimers? A
Didn't no
department
black
store?
people
Yeah.
hardly work
Yeah.
at Tallheimers, but
Grandma
mine
barely
was pretty.
looked black.
And everything, you know, and bright.
Yeah.
She worked at Tallheimers.
That's a department store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like Tallheimers, like Fine Leans in
Okay.
Boston.
And Miller and Rose or something.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I imagine she had an apartment somewhere in Richmond? Or it's an
She
hour's
must have.
drive.
I know she couldn't commute.
That's a
Yeah.
long
Not
time
back then.
huh? Yeah. Look at Grandma being all out there and being a.
So Randy, did you ever think about maybe trying to figure out where Grandma,
That's what
background coming
interests
from?
me. That's what I'd like to do.
So that's what I want to do with the Gloucester Historical Society. I've been
Give
reading
me my clipboard
the
down.
biography of a famous black man from Gloucester named T.C. Walker. I don't know if you've seen The Road. There's a giant mural in Nelson
Oh,
Mandela.
it's
Is
like-
there a
Okay.
piece of
But in
paper
it,
on
it's talking
there,
about after
like
slavery,
folded
the
over?
first school in Gloucester for black people, and the land was donated by a man in our family. Where's my phone? But it basically he was a
Maybe it's down
And it
here
came
on the
from,
side. Is it
like-
down there on the side?
So the man that
large-
donated the land was a lemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But which is probably a relative of ours. Like
That's
basically, we have a land, Eastertown. Basically, you can probably correct me if I'm missing anything. Where a community of free Negroes of color, like mulatto, have been living in Gloucester since like the 1700s. Like the ferryman, what's his name? You know,
Who?
basically they're another prominent white.
The one that
family.
comes around your house
Him,
now?
yeah.
Randy Ferry?
Yeah, like this guy comes from like the ferry owned basically all of Gloucester, and
He come from what?
he came with a book. He's doing his own like family history, and somehow he got on us. And you see, the land was given to like it goes from a John Lawson in like 1798 or something to something Lemon, and then it goes from a white man to Lemon. It says mulatto. And then since then, like it was like 800 acres of Eastertown.
Charlene D. Caffey. That was Cousin Hattie's sister. They're both listed as mulatto. But Cousin Hattie was raised in the household of John Driver. And Cousin Charlene was raised them Tuppences from Westport in their household. I don't know why that is. But if you, this the 1910 census, and Cousin Hattie was it says there, I think 16, 15, 16.
15.
She was 15 at the time. That's 1910. Ma was born in 1911 or 12. So she was either 16 or 17 years old when Ma was born. And I'm looking in that same household is John
Driver.
son, and he's 17. And I'm saying, you know, you got a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old living in the same house and they ain't got the same last name and all. Could he be
That's more
Ma's,
likely.
Ma's father?
I was talking to Leah about that because the other guy was the grandfather, right? The basically like white dude. What's his name? Our great grandfather.
Drive
Washington
Yeah,
Lemon?
yeah. There's no way he was the dad. That's one of the other rumors my father
Cousin Charlene was his niece.
Right. So that's why like you wouldn't want to let
His
the world know
sister
you locked up a
Amanda
niece.
was Cousin Charlene's mama.
So it's unlikely
And
it's him.
Cousin Hattie's mama.
Because also of his complexion. Because Hattie was light skinned and then he was a white man.
Cousin Charlene she passed as white
Passed
up in
as white.
Philadelphia and all. She
There's
was
no
pretty
way
too, Cousin Charlene.
Grandma would have came out with any type of like black feature at all if like that was the parentage. So I'm guessing it had to be someone else other than him. Like, who do you think the father was of Cousin Hattie's baby, our grandma.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This dude is 17 in the same household. Could it have been him even?
Makes far
You
better
know,
sense.
youngsters 17, 16, feeling their oats, living in the same house.
He literally
And,
looks
uh,
like Freddy Krueger, so I'm hoping.
He
Look
doesn't
in
even
this
look like-
picture. I got a.
But see,
Well, you
that's
can't
the
see it. I
thing,
got a
like,
bandage
yeah,
on my
like-
leg. That's when I got pushed up against the
I'm with
stove.
you.
Right.
I'm seeing that.
That's Ivan.
Cousin Hattie wasn't even
Some
recognized.
photos
as
I
like
see.
You can't
great
see it.
grandma.
There's
From
other
your
photos.
grandma.
Something they kind of kept under the rug.
But I'd like to
Right,
know
my
Ma's
father-
too.
You remember Cousin Hattie as Grandma's cousin,
Yeah, but
but
she was always
you
there.
knew that
She come to Cambridge. She used to come over the house every Sunday. She used to
Hugging
boss
you.
us around like she was our mom.
Massachusetts.
You know what I mean?
Cousin.
And
She
she,
said
Your
something?
father wasn't
Huh?
around.
didn't she possibly say something to Grandma and tell Grandma?
Ma knew it. Ma knew it, Dad too. They knew Cousin Hattie was Ma's mother.
With this tap.
Grammy couldn't.
Yeah.
Grammy had a
You can zoom
hysterectomy.
in
She
and
couldn't have no children.
Yeah.
You know.
Then his question is who's the father?
Ma
Maybe we can find a photo.
knew who her mother was,
He
and
looked
and,
Chauncey
and,
Driver,
and
looked
after
like you or something.
Janelle, when they finally, I was a teenager. I don't know, 17 or 18. When they
Oh, I
told
didn't.
me, it just clicked like
Yeah.
a picture. Myron Cousin Hattie was so much alike in their stature
I
and
had
the
to
way they
double
looked
tap.
and shit. You know, I never knew it,
Double
but
tap.
When it was said,
I
it
ain't
made
doubted
sense.
after that. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
But you
I
look
see
there like
that
I
a
see.
lot
I don't
in
know
her,
how
too.
she's raised in this driver household.
But I know everyone says
Her and
Being
her,
a
dad looks a
Catholic.
lot
her
like
and her
his
brother.
Well,
Well, your father
her
had more
brother.
Honest,
shape.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wasn't it back then that if a woman got pregnant by somebody there, the family tended to take them in?
Looks like his father.
Well, Grandpa was her uncle. He took her in. You know, he raised her. Him and Grammy. But Grammy was not her mother. Grandpa was not her.
No, I'm talking about Hattie. I'm talking about Hattie. Wasn't it back then like if a woman got pregnant by that family, or that by a man in that family, they took her
Oh, I
in?
see.
So-
I see what
So,
you're saying.
so that's why they, in the census, why she could have been in the
What's going on right
family
here?
household, the
Very-
drivers.
Very possible.
Because I mean, I'm just saying that's
don't
what
know my
history
grandma
was.
to
If a
look
woman was pregnant, and at the time she was a marriageable age.
She doesn't.
Could have been.
she
If
looks
that, you know,
mom.
marriageable age, if you were pregnant at that time
So,
by
like, the
that
story-
a man in that
Could have
family,
been.
the family
I
tend to
don't-
take
I
you
don't
in.
know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I looked at another census back then, and it showed Washington Lemon and Eliza Lemon and their adopted daughter. That's what it said. She was probably about 3 then, you know,
I'm
adopted.
sure Cousin Hattie was equally as light.
So I don't know.
So there's no way
Because
she
the
would've
reason
came
why
out,
I say
think,
that is
looking at
because
all black.
my
She's looking at white
grandfather's
women.
parents
So I'm thinking
were
that the
living
drivers,
with
free Negro
his
colors,
parents at the
colors,
same
lot
time
of
on the
that
census.
community that was around
Yeah.
Boston
And
were all
Annabelle,
high
you know,
we still know
grandfather's
drivers,
mama
and we know
was
with
have
them
an
before they were
Afrocentric
married.
feature to them
Yeah.
still
with
there.
them and everything. And the reason why their family
So, like,
took her
that would make
in
more
was
sense to
because
me.
she
It's
was
'cause Hattie
pregnant
probably
at the
was
time
high.
with the first
That's why
with
she
the
came out
firstborn,
kind
the
of-
Dorothy.
like, you can tell
Dorothy,
she's
one
not
of
white.
two sisters,
So this
was
was
she was
definitely
pregnant
not
with, and they
supposed
took
to
them in
happen.
the first time before they
Because
were
Because
married.
either cousins in this household or being
And it was stated on the
yeah.
census.
household.
Yeah.
Right.
And this
Yeah.
was not
Just
supposed
thinking
to
about
happen
my
at all.
pumpkin.
Yeah, because they didn't marry him, you know.
Because
like,
even
it
grandpa
was all-
didn't know that they
you
weren't
heard
married when they
that
were
would've been
living
twice
together
a
at
year
his grandfather.
So for some
She's
reason,
in her little
I got
diaper
you.
right
They
now.
decided
She's
that
been
wasn't
so
possible.
tired.
And he was the
You know
first
what I mean?
boy.
Make
That's
her
what
face
they
like she's having cramps or something. I'm like, oh.
But that
How long
there
did they
is
stay in
like
Oh,
Tuppence.
Maybe
That
like,
Tuppence
a
name.
week,
Ma told
maybe.
me a long time
And it
ago.
only
Said we
happens
related
twice
to
out
the
the year.
Tuppence. Well, I knew
But,
the Tuppence girls and all
I was
from
reading like
West Point.
you're really supposed to get
You
your
know,
dogs
and like
fixed
they're still
because
around,
apparently like that.
but they don't
letting
spell
them
it
go
like
through
that. They spell it
shortens their lifespan because they're actually in a lot of pain
Tuppence,
during that
Tuppence,
time.
like
I
that.
had no idea.
But this is
so
like a little
since
different.
Pepsi
But you know,
can't,
they
you know,
screw you
get
in
up
there.
there
Exactly.
next
But
year,
I don't
get
know
away
why
from
cousin
her-
Charlene would have
Stays
gone to
thing.
live with the Tuppence family
funny,
when the
my-
rest of her
my
siblings
friend
was
got
in
her
this
female
driver
dog
household.
spayed.
I don't
And
know.
when they get them spayed,
Foster,
they get
probably?
this light blue
Maybe
tattoo.
Foster?
on them. That was
was
Maybe
a
one of the
relative,
I don't
I thought that
know.
was
No more
funny.
room in
She
the
gonna get her
household.
first
No more
tattoo
room, or she
before
didn't
me.
like what was going on over there. Somebody
Yeah, but
was
she
bothering
was
her.
young. I
I
could
know,
see if she
I
was of
thinking that maybe she
age
even
where
matching
they
me,
hired
but I'm
you
like,
out,
what does that mean?
you know,
like
to
speed?
do work and help out. But she was young then.
Give
What
me
was
a-
she,
Give me
give me a
7,
blue one right
Yeah,
by
she's
my
9.
belly.
Mold.
9?
Yeah.
I'm
Blue
thinking
mold.
more so like fostering, like you know, you didn't have room. Cause I mean,
It
look
could
at
be.
all the
It-
people
it
they
could
didn't have
be.
room, so they
Could be.
put somebody close
I
by
can't
where they could
imagine
still
coming
visit.
That's
and getting
true.
the
Do you know
little
why they left
tattoo pin
to go
drawn
with
down?
other
Because
people?
when I take her
And
to
I
the
didn't
vet
know there was
and
any
they pick up her
Tuppences
skin
in
and give her her
Gloucester.
shot, she
All the Tuppence I knew was from
like
West
Pepsi.
Point.
He
You
acted
know?
like he didn't feel
And
it.
it's still
you know?
they up until recently they
I
used to
had
have a crab
a
shack
dog, I
like
had a
on the left
snake.
right after you pass the
And,
McDonald's and all.
She
And they
came
used to
up
be
and-
right there on the left,
hospital.
about
She
across
had
from
a
where
clinic
that
on
Hardy
there,
sits
whatever.
before you go
She
over
had a
the
little
bridge.
patch on her scalp.
And then the
everything,
driver,
and I
like
had
that
to
would
put
make
in
us
the car.
related to the drivers
And she
again,
went-
right?
I said, "Get in
Because
the car, go get
we're
in the car."
related through the drivers through
Oh,
a
it
false
was her.
connection, right?
That's
Like
not
we
Yeah.
assumed that it was the
But yeah,
grandmother,
it was
who was the
shave,
driver.
shave and go in.
the one that had the
Mhm.
gullet or the
She got
what do they call it?
Goiter.
You didn't have to put a cone on her or anything, you know.
Okay,
somebody put a
so
cone
she was
on
the
her.
driver, and that
She
was
was
how
the
we were
driver.
supposedly related, but we know we're not related.
We're
to
not
her.
related.
I
There
think
was no
some
blood
people heal
relation
pretty
there
well
with
from it,
her.
especially right
So
now.
if that
She's
John
so
driver
young.
though was the actual
Pepsi.
father,
What
of
had
the
that?
grandmother, then we are related to the driver.
Like a few
This
years
doesn't
ago,
make
'cause
sense
he
real
had
quick.
that
Hold on,
gland
doesn't make
problem.
sense.
Do you remember that?
So
Yeah,
it
like
says
the
John
gland
T.
was just
Driver,
growing
the
and growing
son,
and, like,
The son,
starting
I
at
to
know.
grow.
17.
And we
I
had to
know.
cut
But
it
in
and,
but
like,
in the
squeeze
setting of the
everything out
record,
and-
Hattie B
Yeah.
was in the
In the
household
household.
He was
of
dramatic.
him.
I
He was
know.
pretty
it.
So it
dramatic.
makes me wonder was she
he
Maybe,
didn't have to go to the vet,
maybe
though.
he was the head of household by 17 years old. You
That's
know, you
head
was
of
grown
household
man back then
you
at
are.
17.
15.
But
His
at-
father could have
At
been
15,
gone.
at 15, you were also a wife at that age too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it
So
makes
his father could have been passed and he become the head of the household at that age.
so it makes me wonder, was she really daughter or was she?
She wasn't daughter. She was either cousin or
No,
something.
it says daughter.
Oh yeah, it does.
So it makes me wonder, is she really daughter or was she more so wife? Because normally what they did in the census was head of household, husband, and then under him was wife. And then the children came afterward.
Yeah, like the next page.
What is John
Yeah.
T's role listed?
Son.
Like this
Son?
page.
But
So
John,
there's
no,
parents,
John
right?
T's role is listed as household because he says Hattie B. Caffey is in household of John T. Driver, which is him.
Is he a junior?
No,
Doesn't say that.
No,
Where
but
the
he's
parents?
17. He could have been head of
he
household.
could have been
by
head of
then.
household by
Definitely
then.
could have been
But
head of
but it
household.
says he is the household
And he could
of.
have been.
So he is head of household if they're saying he's she's in the
15,
household
she could have
of.
been his
How come no
woman.
one's listed as father or mother?
It could have just been a misprint or something, or it could have been a way how they did the census. Because sometimes if you left the census blank, I'm just learning this from Ancestry, but if you left the census blank in the previous census, you know, they kind of just assigned roles for the next one if this name was still placed in the same address. So that very well could have been because he could have been son at the previous census 4 years prior to
That
before his
seems
dad
like that's
died.
something
Yeah.
that's easy
And then-
to research, right? Like, why did he become head of household at 17? Now we just have to find out. Go one step back. Like, what happened to his parents at 17? Why is he listed as head of household?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, because you know that's what they did back then. If you were head of household if you were a son
They-
of
they
4 years
all
prior to,
mulattoes.
then
It
they
says-
just
sure says that,
replaced
right?
that same role if you
It
never
says
changed
mostly
it on the
everybody
new
is a
census.
mulatto
All
there.
And I'm pretty
mulattoes.
sure at 17 you're not thinking.
Well,
change.
Grandpa's,
You just signing your name.
Lenin's mother was white.
White.
That was Amanda Easter. And she was white. And his father was Grandpa was half white, half black, mulatto. And his mother was all white. Because Eastertown was white folks back there.
But didn't
They
we
didn't
own a
call
part of
those
it?
mulattoes,
Huh?
and they
Like,
called it the other one you searched with
Free
MI.
Negroes of color all inherited the Lemons, like 800 acres on the ferries.
Because
documenting.
Creoles
They
were
ain't
like
inherit
that.
shit
They
from
had
ferry.
mulatto,
They had to
Not-
feed
not
ferries
and they
out the
considered
back
them
door
Creole
because they
were
didn't
French,
even
white,
have nothing
and
to
na-
eat.
and native,
No, I'm talking
and
about
black.
the ferry
They had all
guy.
mixed.
What's he say? His name was Randy.
But that's
something?
but they didn't
Randy
call
He
it.
brought
They didn't
over
call
the,
them Mexican. They called them like Creole.
court
and something
records of a
Mexican.
John Lawson in like 1799
Monero,
giving
something
it
like
to
that.
a
It
mulatto
was.
named
I gotta
Leonard.
look at it. I ain't got no in it.
800 acres?
It's like a lot of acres, yeah.
Wow.
It's
I
like,
hear it.
isn't that like
Yeah.
Eastertown though? Like in Eastertown, what we were living on Lemons?
Hattie was
No,
his wife. Or a second
no, it was back.
Common law.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess all the Eastertown was because Lemon gave up the land for the church and all, so I guess it was all that side of the road.
Yeah, because you see how it dwindled all the land. Somehow that now we just have the 8-acre farm that we have currently. But at one point we had a massive community all living on together.
That's true. That's true.
Government. But you know, I found out. I actually found this out while I was in New York visiting Ellis Island for the first time. There was Barbados, originally from Barbados, family owned pretty much a good like 4 acres worth of land in Long Beach, California. Like that's like that's like $1 million area now.
Yeah, sure. They're gonna get restitution.
They ran them out, but the family was able to show proof that they originally owned the land.
That's right.
And had old deeds and everything. The state of California gave them back that land.
Yeah.
What's the story about the uncle who sold like 100 acres for a donkey? Something like
What?
Yeah, I heard about that.
That was Grandpa's brother.
Wait, what?
See, Grandpa inherited Eastertown and all that property. It was like just him and his brother Wesley.
My grandfather?
Wesley.
Or your
My
grandfather?
grandfather.
Okay.
I know where that name
Wesley.
comes from. Wesley.
Well, Wesley had been married here once before and had kids. I don't know what happened, why he left, but he sold his half of the heritage to Grandpa for a horse. And he took the horse and went out to Burkeville, Virginia, and married a woman named, what the hell was her name? I met her people too. I went out there and introduced myself. Man, I said, man, we cousins. He broke out the scotch and everything. We had a good time out there. Funny name, kind of. G's. They were G's.
Okay.
And he married Lorene G.
So
And he showed me where he was buried out there and where his home was and everything.
was this like the nicest donkey that's ever been bred? Or like,
The what?
why would he give up so much land for a donkey?
Because he was leaving here. You know, land, people give you land that ain't as valuable to you as if you got to work and sweat for it, you know. It was left to him.
Right.
You know, that's the
Do
story.
you
We
think
wasn't
he
there.
gave,
We
like, he
don't know.
received enough money to start a new house or family somewhere else since he did have a woman? Like, I didn't know that part of the story.
No, well, I guess he had money and, you know, back then $50 was a hell of a lot of money. So he took his horse and he went out there and I don't know where he had met this woman. She might have had property herself. But he married her and they had a family. In fact, their name is Lemon.
Because I told this story to a guy I work with named BK, and he was saying that he had a relative who lost a lot of land over a donkey as well. I was thinking like that was cold or like nigga get out of here kind of.
Yeah, well, no, it was a horse. It wasn't a donkey. It was a horse. But like a horse was valuable back then, man. You know what I mean? You could buy an acre of land for $5.
How do you even feel like growing up number 5 in 8 kids, like in your like household? Like, how does that even feel? Being in that type of environment with all of those siblings and things, and being like you're right in the middle.
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh, my check.
Hey.